So this is Grant Elvis Phillips, and he's with us here at Mendez Gym. Behind us is some of Grant's products. Grant's been boxing since he was a kid. Why?
Just like a lot of kids who like football or basketball or baseball, like most kids, I just didn't. I like boxing. Got into it when I was about 8 years old, and just been in it since then.
And you turned your love for boxing into a business. So tell me a little about Grant.
I basically, as a kid, I used to sell boxing equipment, other brands. That was my way of having money to take girls out with and stuff. So I would sell other brands of equipment. Mexico was the first guy on the East Coast back in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s to have Mexican equipment. And so I built a little niche business with that. And then my dream was one day, if I had the money, to start my own company. And I was blessed to do that when I became the youngest manager of world champion history in '94. Louis Santana winning the WBC Super Welterweight title. And from that, I made pretty decent money, thank God, and started the company.
That's terrific. But what made you get into the ring with people like Everlast? I mean, starting a great company is one thing, but that's a huge opponent, and you're still with it, and you're still one of the top. So how did you manage to do that?
Well, I'll tell you, we've had a long running feud with them, long enough that it took us to federal court in New York in a lawsuit that we filed and won, and made the front page of USA Today's business section of all places. And they had a picture of me after it was over with the caption "Giant Killer," which we beat them in court. And so we're still here by the grace of God. You know, we're backing that 800-pound gorilla little by little, and hitting him with body shots. And he's every year a little bit more. And so we're making our mark, and we continue to have the top fighters in the game. We have Winky Wright, Floyd Mayweather, Layla Ali, Roy Jones Jr., Chad Dawson, on and on and on. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., a lot of young.
Well, that's another thing I was going to ask you about. It's one thing for guys and women to be modeling your brandwear in magazines and brochures, but to actually get into the ring during a championship fight means they have to have a lot of belief in the product. How do you approach them? I mean, how do they decide? How do they make that decision?
Well, the interesting thing about it is that since we've started the company, we've never ever paid anybody for our products. Everybody's endorsed the products because it's the best product, bar none, out there, and that includes fighters that were fighting in fights where they were making $30 million purses, like Evander Holyfield, and insisting that they would not get in the ring unless they have brand gloves. So I guess that speaks for itself.
And you also manage, as you mentioned, boxers. So what do you look for in a boxer when you manage?
Talent, dedication, and no headaches. That's hard to find. I've been managing fighters for a long time, and I've been blessed to have 5 world champions that I've managed, and I've trained fighters, but a lot of them are headaches, and so I've gotten to the point in my life, being in the business as long as I have, that I just get rid of the headaches and don't really deal with them, but it's not worth it.
You not as a headache, but as a great fighter, anyone that inspires you?
That's fighting now?
No, that you've managed.
That I've managed? They all kind of had their history. I had Leslie Stewart, who was a former light heavyweight champion. I had Iran Barkley at one time. I had Lightning Lonnie Smith. Again, Louis Santana, a Cinderella story, winning that title with Terry Norris and the way that he won it, defended it. So, you know, they all have some special meaning in one way or the other.
Any rising stars that you can see right now? Not necessarily that you handle, but out there today?
Chavez Jr. looks like he's the real goods. He may have inherited the last name and all the hoopla that goes with being a Chavez, but from what I've seen, the kid looks like he really has the talent to go all the way. Andre Berto also looks like another guy that might really make some noise.
So if you could manage anybody you wanted today, who would that be?
Probably Chavez Jr., most likely, because he's so young and you have so much to work with a young kid you can mold like that. I'd probably say Chavez Jr. I mean, obviously I would be more want to say a De La Hoya or something like that because it'd be instant money, but if you want to take a young kid, somebody you can mold into being somebody really special, I would say someone like Chavez Jr.
I'm not going to ask you what your dream is because I think it would be to have everybody wearing Grant wear. one thing about the way boxing is done now, what would it be?
Replace a lot of the people that are in high positions that don't have a clue about boxing with people like yourself and Jose Suleiman and people who really truly care about the sport, even though so many people are quick to criticize them and talk about them and all that kind of stuff, which I've been hearing for years. Even Don King is the greatest promoter that ever lived. People can talk and they talk about him and they introduce him at the fights and people boo him, but those are the same people that are standing there cheering the fights that he's putting on. So there's a lot of ignorance in boxing, and a lot of the people that have a mic in their hand and that are on the networks, they're respected voices, and most of them have no clue what they're talking about if you really break it down.
So you're still a very young man, and you've had a lot of different journeys in your life already. What's important to you in your personal life? What's your philosophy?
You know, my whole thing in this life is about, you know, what we leave in this world. When we leave this world, you know, what is it that we accomplish in this life? And it's not about how much money you have in your bank account or how many champions you've had or anything like that. It's about what your donation to this world was, and you know, something you can feel good about knowing that you left this world doing something good that helped other people, and that's probably my philosophy and the way I live.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the time.
Yes.